Women think 80% of men are ugly. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Rather, we're looking at a study, and this is a study that was pretty interesting. Came out in February 13, 2023, and it's women are much more selective and find 80% of men unattractive on dating apps per recent research. That's a massive number. 80%. Women find 80% of men as unattractive, straight off unattractive. They will not speak to these men on these apps. 80%. And then from the remaining 20%, they are going to eliminate a large portion of those men before they even go on a date with them. The reality is that women do not want to deal with 95% of men, and they are all chasing after the top 1% of men in Western society. It's no secret that the dating scene isn't exactly hospitable for singles these days, and even though there are fewer people getting married than ever before, it's less than 1 in 1,000 men are currently getting married in Western society. There are more than enough people out there looking for a relationship of some kind. So in 2020, it was estimated that 44.2 million people used online dating services in the US, and it's predicted that this number will increase to 53.3 million in 2025. But recent research shows that women are actually much pickier about which men they find attractive, and it's likely harming their chances at finding their husband. So looking at this recent study, only one profile out of 100 was liked by 80% of women. Guys, check this out. Only one profile out of 100 was liked by more than 80% of women. So, actually, this is 1%. Because if it's 1 out of 100 men, that's 1%. So, 80% of women only find 1% of men as attractive. Guys, this is insane numbers. Over 80% of women in Western society only find 1%. 1% of men as attractive. Oh my gosh. That's what this is actually saying. Oh my goodness gracious. These numbers are insane, guys. 1%, 1%, over 80% of women only find 1% of men as attractive. 1 out of every 100 men, only one. That's 1% of men. This is what men are dealing with in Western society. When I say that these people do not like us, it's no joke. It's no joke. Okay? The results showed that out of a group of 100 bachelor profiles, only one profile was liked by more than 80% of women, and yet 38 of the other profiles were disliked by the same group of participants. This is an effect that I have described in the past. Although we see high inter-rater agreements on attractiveness agreement of individual pairs, and a sample can be much lower. In other words, there can be high disagreements even for what an attractive face is. Think about that very carefully. Popular YouTuber Better Bachelor posted a similar video explaining how women are only selecting the top 1% of men to be their potential mate. Guys, it's only 1% of men, demanding that their future husband have a six-pack, a six-figure income, fancy car, a fantastic sense of humor, among other things. Meanwhile, an Only Cupid study found that women find 80% of men unattractive. But guys, in this study, it was actually 1 out of 100. So they're only finding 1% of men as attractive today. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The men that they're actually finding attractive are Plan B guys. The average man, the average guy, they don't find these men as attractive. I know it's crazy to hear this. It's crazy to see these statistics. But then when you actually listen to what's going on, you realize that no, this is the reality. And I want to show you guys something. So there's a woman, she's a comedian, and I want you guys to I want to prove to you she's an American citizen. Okay. So let's just go back, and here you can see her, right? Her name is Tiffany Chen. There's her United States passport. Okay. I think it's important that you need to see this. So she is an American. Her name is Tiffany Chen. She's a comedian, and there's her holding up her passport. I want you guys to see she's an American citizen. She recently went to Japan, and I want you to listen to what she says. Okay, and then I want you to understand that it's completely made up. But this is how American women view American men, and then I'm going to show you exactly what she's talking about.
In Japan, there is a term for men who aren't necessarily successful with the ladies in their home country, and they come to Japan and they are really, really successful with the Japanese ladies. And this term is LBH, or losers back home. So these LBH, or losers back home, they would not slay at home like in the US, but in Japan they slay, and believe me, they slay. I know men who have a roster of Japanese women. Some of these men have been with multiple hundreds of Japanese women, and it shocked me, but now I get it. I guess if you're an Asian woman that grew up in an Asian country and is only used to seeing Asian people, maybe you are very intrigued by a white guy. So there is a difference in standards. In the US, if you were to ask who's the hottest male Hollywood actor, you'd probably hear Bradley Cooper or Brad Pitt. But in Japan, they say it's Eddie Redmayne.
Now, guys, she's saying that Eddie Redmayne is ugly, right? Eddie Redmayne. Guys, do you know who Eddie Redmayne is? Now, I want to say this very quickly. This term that she put out there, loser back home, when we actually look into it, because there are Japanese people who pop up on her profile, and they basically say they don't know anything about it. So this is her profile on TikTok, and someone said, that's a bad term, please change it. And then someone said, let's see here, loser back home boys, we still up. A hit is a hit. 41,000 likes. You might have just created an ad for Japanese tourism. Yeah, if Eddie Redmayne is unattractive, I'm cooked. And then Jasmine says, American, Eddie Redmayne is a gorgeous Englishman. Right? And then someone says, game is game. Loser back home or not, hit is a hit. Kevin says, pack your bags, boys. We're going to Japan. And then I Love You says, Eddie Redmayne is definitely considered attractive here too. Then another one, Blind Amy says, Eddie Redmayne is wonderful. El Senor says, Eddie Redmayne, bro, I have hope. Okay. Now, this is pretty interesting. This is very, very interesting. So this one guy says, you're wrong. It's not loser at home. It's too much drama at home. Now check out this comment from a Japanese woman named Amy. I've lived in Japan my entire life and do not know this term. Okay. Exile says it's probably another TikTok brain rot term. Art says, I'm devastated, bro. Meat says it's not the term that Japanese use. It's the term homely foreign women use while living in Japan. So this is a term that American women are creating to insult foreign men who go to Japan. And as you can see, they're insulting Japanese women for getting into relationships with foreign men as well. So they want to say that foreign women have very low standards, when in reality, as you can see, women in Western society, American women, women in the United Kingdom, women in these Western countries only like 1% of men. They only find 1% of men. They're chasing after 1% of men, and they're all fighting for the top percent of the top 1% of men. So basically, they do not like men in Western society. They don't like us. They don't want us here. They only want our attention, our time, our money, our resources, but they don't actually like us. Now, we actually have a Japanese person here. I'm glad Mayumi popped up. Mayumi is from Japan. She grew up in Japan. She was born in Japan. She is Japanese. Mayumi says, never heard that word. And of course, she points out, leave it to the same individuals who tried to have my husband's reputation destroyed in his first marriage. I mean, guys, as I said, these people, they do not like us. They don't like us. They don't want us. They are spreading propaganda. They are now trying to shame Japanese women and saying that Japanese women have very low standards. Now, when we talk about Eddie, it's very interesting because she's speaking very poorly of Eddie. She got flamed so badly over mentioning Eddie that she tried to play it off afterwards. But let's look at what Eddie looks like. So we're gonna look at some pictures of Eddie, right? We're gonna look at pictures of Eddie, and then after we look at Eddie, we're gonna basically discuss, some further things about him. So this is just a general shot of Eddie. He's actually very handsome. The guy has a six pack. Just to put it out there, I had a picture open for I had a window open with his six pack, but this guy has a six pack. He has a six pack. He's very fit. He's very good looking. This is just one of the pictures. He's actually 6 feet tall. So Eddie Redmayne is 6 feet tall, right? 6 feet tall. And what about his net worth, right? What is his net worth like? Let's look at that. So he's an English actor who has a net worth of $20 million, and he won an Oscar for his role in Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything, and also starred in Fantastic Beast and The Danish Girl. All right. So that's cool. So he's a well-known actor. All right. But he's well known. He's very, very good looking guy. He's tall, 6 feet tall, has a six pack. He's worth about $20 million. He has a net worth of $20 million estimated. But then you look further at Eddie, and let's check this out. So he's an OBE. That's a very high distinguishment. Okay. So the most excellent order of the British Empire is a British Order of Chivalry, rewarding contributions to the arts and sciences, work with charitable and welfare organizations, and public services outside the civil service. Okay, so it's a very, very high award that's given to people within the United Kingdom, entertainers within the United Kingdom, and he is an OBE. And we often joke that it stands for Old British Entertainer, but it's actually a very, very big honor. Now, check this out. He's received various accolades. He's won an Academy Award, so his Oscar. He's won a Tony Award. So he's the highest award you could win for being a Broadway actor. He's won a BAFTA Award, which is the highest, which is basically the Academy Awards in England. That's the highest award that you can win as an actor, as a performer in England. And then he also has 2 Olivier Awards. The only thing he's missing right now is essentially an Emmy. So he's one of the most decorated actors of our time. He is one of the most handsome, he's only 42 years old, most decorated actors of our time. He has his bachelor's degree from Trinity College, so he's educated. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, guys. Okay? This guy is insane. He's insane what he's achieved in his life. At 42 years old, he's at the absolute top. And this woman says that this guy is ugly. He is ugly. He's broke. He's unattractive. He's undesirable. This guy is in the top 1% of men. Guys, what did I warn you about modern women? What did I warn you about modern women? Okay. MK Fitness says 20 million, not a billionaire. These women literally have trillionaire gang in their bios right now. Trillionaire gang. Okay? These are guys, there's some insane pictures of him out there. Like I'll show you I could show you some other pictures of Eddie. Okay? He's a very very handsome guy. He has some very distinguished features. He has the he has the cheekbones that people he has the cheekbones that a lot of guys would love to have. You know, he has abs. I mean, it's 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 hard. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And this is the kind of guy that they are shaming, that they are speaking poorly of. I mean, it's harder to go much higher than him. He's at the very, very top. And realize that this is what they're saying about these are the types of things that they're saying about him. Like, look at this picture. There's another picture of this guy. This is what this guy looks like. Okay? Let's keep on going. Here's another picture of him. He's an actor, so this is a picture. He's married, he has children. Here's another picture. I show you this picture, guys, because I want you to see his abs. This is an image of because remember he's a Tony Award winner, so they perform in all kinds of crazy performances. But look at his abs, guys. This is what his body looks like. Look at the definition. Okay, is that a 6-pack or an 8-pack? Look at it, guys. Look at this. This is what this is what women find as unattractive today. Yeah, yeah. That's the reality that we live in. This is what modern women think of men in Western society. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. Miami says, my husband is 43 years old and on top of his game with a company growing, contracts through the roof. Guys, these women don't want these men. These women don't want these men. All right? I mean, like, just think about this. She's insulting this guy, and it's like, are you crazy? The crazy thing about these modern women is because of the body count, because of the guys that they are in relationships with, because of the guys that they hook up with, they believe that that makes them high value women. So basically, if you're not hopping in the sack, if you're not basically in a relationship with Brad Pitt, then a guy who looks like Brad Pitt, then an absolute Chad or a Tyrone, then you're doing it wrong. This is how these women operate. This is their mental state right now. Like, Eddie would basically be a plan B guy, and he would be lucky to be in a relationship with her. Guys, they look down upon us. They absolutely do. Even if you are a billionaire, guys, you have women out there, a lot of these women who think that they should be able to command LeBron James. LeBron James is like almost 7 feet tall. He is the top athlete in the world right now. He is the number one athlete in the world right now. He's what, roughly, I think maybe 40 years old this year? 40 years old, the top athlete in the world. He's the number one athlete in the world, the highest paid athlete in the world, the richest athlete in the world, worth over $1 billion. Okay. And they basically think that, and they think that every woman thinks that she should be able to go and command a LeBron James. There's like only one of these dudes, and he's been married for years. And I guarantee you, they're all going to be going after Brony, his son, very soon. They're all going to be going after Brony. because he's headed to the NBA. This is the insanity that we are living in, y'all. Insanity. They only like 1% of men. Guys, this is a mouse utopia. MK Fitness is right when he says it. Get out while you still can. Get out. Leave. Get out of this place while you still can, because they don't like you and they don't want you here. The character of these people is quite poor. And look how poorly she speaks of Japanese women, basically suggesting that these Japanese women are taking the losers. So the losers, the women, the men that are losers in America, that the women don't want, those are the men, those are the women, those are the men that the Japanese are taking, the women are taking, because maybe they have very low standards, or they're just not as high value as American women. But she's not going to say that, but that's obviously what she's getting at. Like, they're basically going around and picking up American women's garbage. This is how they view us as men, guys. They view Eddie, think about that carefully, Eddie Redmayne as garbage. They view us as garbage. They look down on, we are basically their trash, and these women over there are picking up their trash. Okay? We are losers. Those were her words. I want you guys, there's no hope left in Western society. There's no relationship that can be rebuilt in Western society. You know? I'm going to tell you guys something about pain and suffering. A lot of these women, they don't have money. As men, especially, are doing the whole soft guy era thing, focusing on self care and self preservation. Modern women are living entirely off the simp economy. The average Only Fools model, and they're not models, they're workers, they're you know what, are only making $150 a month. And when the floor falls out for these women, they won't have anything because they have no financial literacy. Most of them are not buying, they're renting, or if they're buying property, they're buying these properties to live in. They're not investment properties. So they're burning out all of this cash. And then when the floor falls out from under them, they'll be broke. And they can't, they're so used to having this amount of money that they won't be able to go back to like living normal again. They won't even be able to go back to a normal 9 to 5 job because they have no skill sets. And they won't they'll with the fact that they were on Only Fools and Lonely Fads, they won't even be able to get a job at McDonald's. So what are they going to do? They're going to go to the streets. This is the truth. They're going to say, well, how can I make this money? What can I do? Because there's nothing else they can do to make that amount of money in a short period of time. So what are they going to do? They're going to go to the streets, and they're going to try to make their money off the streets, working as ladies of the night. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Oh gosh. I tell you, it's a sad reality. MK Fitness says she wants chubby little Poncho. Yes, yes. Chubby little Poncho. Sick. Abs guys, this society is so sick. Mayumi says these women are nothing but a bad joke and they should be disregarded as such. Drizzle says social media. Oh gosh. John says angry they hate Eddie because he is married to a loving wife and has 2 kids with her that are his instead of Chad or Brad or Tyrone. These women are jealous. 100%. Voice says, how come Jabba the Hutt is the new poster child for ladies in the USA? MK says, she let little Pancho Beer Belly go at it raw. Oh boy. We see here. Mayumi says, she said at MK, yes, I agree. These women don't like happily married men. Uh, MK says, yeah, Angry needs to do a video on the 4B. I have briefly touched on it, but I will talk more about the 4B. Mayumi says, if that egg roll ran into me and my group of northern Japanese women, oh god. Holy cow. Oh, oh my god. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh shoots. Oh shoots. Oh oh shoots. Oh oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. If that individual ran into me and my group of northern Japanese women, she would be very unhappy very quickly. Oh god, oh god, oh holy oh my god. Oh god. Oh god. People often confuse kindness for weakness and politeness for weakness. There's a saying that the Japanese are polite, but the Japanese are not kind. And it's not to say that they're not kind Japanese people, but for don't confuse politeness for weakness. And I think that a lot of people confuse, you know, they look at the Japanese and they think that because the Japanese are so polite, the Japanese are weak. And it's a very, very terrible thing to believe. During World War II, the the men from the United States, the soldiers, they said that they had never encountered anyone, because there were some of these guys also fought in WW1, and they said that they had never encountered anyone as tough and as direct as the Japanese. The art of torture is something that was refined by the Japanese. You know, these women are crazy, absolutely crazy. There's a video on YouTube that basically goes over the history of Japan. Like, really, it's an animation. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty amazing what the history of Japan looks like. Let's just say there's a lot of swords and red stuff all over. And it's like, that's the history of Japan, back and forth. I want you guys to think about how small Japan is as an island nation, and then consider that Japan at one time ruled over South Korea and also China. Japan. Take that very carefully into consideration. Hmm. I don't know. I really don't know. Mayumi is furious. I cannot read some of Mayumi's comments. It looks like she's upset in the chat. I don't know, guys. These women are not going to have a good time. Like, these women are not going to have a good time. They are going around and they are attacking people who are not messing with them. They are attacking these women just for getting into relationships with essentially a handful of men. Like, guys, think about it. The number of, a lot of men are going overseas, but the number of men that are going overseas right now is still relatively small. They see a handful of dudes in Japan slaying, and and this is how they react. Okay? Because most men still have not left the United States yet. Most men haven't left yet. The vast majority of men are still here, still in the United States, and these women are so filled with anger and fury. because a handful of men have left. You see, these women don't want these men to have any success. They don't want men to be happy. They view these men as property. Women, I told you, women in Western society, they don't like us. They don't like us. They just want our attention. They want our time. They want our money. And you have to remember at all times, you're dealing with people who can't understand normal thinking. I love that acronym. Can't understand normal thinking. These people can't understand normal thinking. So trying to reason with them will never happen. Frankie says these 3-0-4s are trying to blame all dudes for Little Poncho's poop. They like Little Poncho, and when he pee-pees on the pillow, I mean, guys, it's reality. It is reality. Guys, these women are not going to do well in the rest of the world because here they are shaming, attacking, disrespecting women in other countries who are not disrespectful to them, who are not trying to create any problems for them, but they're furious that the men from Western society are going over there and having relationships, and they're saying these things. It's not, guys, they think that these women don't speak English. The Filipinas are Filipinas, women in Singapore, women who in Singapore, these women in Singapore, they're not dating American men. They're not interested. They're overall not interested in American men. And you have Western women attacking all of these women in Asia just because a few of them dated foreign men. Can you imagine this? And saying the most disrespectful and disgusting things you can imagine. Saying that these ladies don't speak English. The reason why they're dating these men is because they're struggling financially, or they're not very, or they don't have a higher level of education. We're talking about people, guys. The Philippines, they have the same level of college degrees that we do. They speak better English than a lot of the Keishas in Western society. MK Fitness pointed out that, and I never knew this, that a lot of the Filipinas, they teach English in China. I mean, in Singapore, it's like, it's one of the, English is one of the languages in one of the official languages, I believe, in Singapore. It's one of the, most Filipinos speak English. All of their textbook, their schooling, their education is in English. It's beyond strange. It's beyond strange. They study English in Japan. I don't know what the heck this really is. They're not making any friends. They're not making any friends at all. And what they're doing right now is they're going to make it very bad for themselves when they go to other countries, because these women are watching. The women in these countries, the men in these countries, they're watching, and they know what these women are saying. So when they go to these countries, it's going to be hard for them. And the Japanese, they're funny people. They won't talk, but don't think that they don't think. Like, for example, they may not say it to your face, okay? But they are saying it behind your back. Mayumi says women of the West are the biggest failure of their lives when men see them as nothing more than performers of the streets and debt carriers. Wow. Mayumi says when I was in middle school, that's when I started learning English. So yeah, it's very, very offensive. It is very, very offensive what these women are saying and doing. But guys, nothing lasts forever. And when the floor falls out on these women, it's going to be rough because many of them are going to find themselves homeless in Western society with this rising inflation. Guys, here's the thing: every year, inflation resets. That's the thing. Every year, inflation resets. So the prices don't go down, but they basically say, okay, well, so you had 3% inflation last year, 3.5% inflation last year. This year, it's 2%, right? Keep in mind, if your Big Mac was $7 last year, it doesn't reset at the start of the new year. No, it's going up even more. Okay? So the prices are only climbing higher. The rent is only going higher. Women don't have this money. In the United States, the average salary for a person in the US is something around like $50,000. And that's for men. The average man makes around $51,000 in the US. The average woman makes somewhere around $36,000. 36, significantly less than the average man. And only a small percentage of people in the US make $100,000 or more. And women want millionaires. And they're all living off the simp economy right now. Okay? We're dealing with broke girls. They don't have the funds. They're being disrespectful. They're shaming men, saying that they want millionaires. Every girl deserves a millionaire, and all of this jazz when they don't even have money to afford a $7 Uber. These women can't even pay for an Uber right now. Like, we just need to talk about it and be open and honest with it. Like, these women cannot even afford an Uber. They cannot even afford a ride home. Okay? Because when they go out with these men, and these men are like, you know what, I'm not paying for your meal, pay for your own dinner, pay for your own meal. And these women are like, what are you talking about? I can't pay for this meal. I don't have any money. Yeah, and take yourself home as well. She's like, you have to take me home. He's like, grab an Uber. She's like, I don't have money for an Uber. I can't take Uber. What? So they basically go out without a dime in their pockets. This is something that I've known for years, where women would go to the bars, go out to the clubs with no money on them, and just have guys buy them drinks. They would literally leave their homes without any money because they knew that they would be able to find men to subsidize their living. This is the way that women have been living for so long. And guys, because of this irresponsibility, the fallout from it is going to be so substantial. Okay? And women are not going to know how to recover from it. A lot of them are going to end up in jail. A lot of them are going to end up in jail for the way that they've been living life, for the terrible decisions that they've been making. A lot of them are absolutely going to end up in jail. Okay? I mean, if you guys, look at what the average 18 years old, like check this out.
How old are you?
However you want me to be. However old you want me to be. I'm just kidding. I'm 18.
How long was your last relationship?
I don't do relationships.
So you've been single your whole life?
I be fucking with people, but I don't be locked in. I got commitment issues for real. Like, I like multiple instead of one.
So you're polyamorous?
No, she be cheating. I just cheat.
You ever sleep with more than one of them in the same day?
I don't date anybody, but not in the same day. That's a little dirty, but maybe in the same week. Not the same day.
You never did in the same week.
See, if you notice, her friend is trying to stop her right there. No, you never did in the same week. So she's trying to protect her. Like, she's like, no, don't tell him that. All right, maybe in the same week, multiple guys in the same week.
Have I ever?
No, you have not done it in the same week. That's actually dirty. You have not done it.
Okay, not the same week. Maybe like 2 weeks and 2 weeks in between.
You didn't know, like months.
Who was the last guy?
You never did this 2 months.
Okay,
in one
a
week.
month in
You never
between.
done
At least 2 months.
Yeah, it's never been in the same week.
Right?
Yes, it's never
2
been
months.
in the same week.
Like, her friend is trying to clean it up. Like, girl, no, don't go that far. All right, girl, you look bad. You look bad, girl. Don't, guys. This is what men have to deal with in Western society. All right, these are the women who say that they deserve millionaires and billionaires and are putting trillionaire gang in their bios, believing that they deserve trillionaires and everyone else is a broke boy. And then they wonder why men are not just walking away, but running away. Or that these men have. That's why I said the body cam is coming. That's gonna be one of the next big things. Where people are gonna be walking around with clip-on cameras, and they're gonna they're gonna record video directly to the phone, to your cell phone, and your smartphone, and pretty much every moment of every day is gonna be recorded. Like, this is going to be the reality. And whenever a guy gets into an argument with a chick, boom, he's going to have his body cam on. Okay? He's going to have his body cam on. Like, that's where we're at this point.
Feeling absolutely humbled. I just go home with this guy in an Uber. Like, we're like pretty close vicinity, you know. So he's like, what's your address? Like, I'm gonna put it in the Uber to see how much, like, whatever. I live 3 blocks away, so it's not that big of a deal. This guy looks at me and goes, sorry babe, you have to walk home because the Uber is $7 extra if I drop you off at your apartment. He said, that's a lot. I've never gotten the ick faster than I just did right now. So I'm walking home alone at 2 in the morning. And let me just say, this is the same man that has asked me out like consecutively. Like, he works at a hedge fund. You don't have $7 to drop my ass off 3 blocks away.
Yeah. You know what's very interesting is the fact that she doesn't seem to realize that men have common sense and people could reason. And bro, you don't have the money to pay for an Uber to take you home. If a guy doesn't want to take you home, you don't have $15 or $20. She says that it's 3 blocks. Guys, she was walking in the city late at night at like 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning by herself. And this dude put her out. And she did not have 15 or 20 bucks to call for an Uber. And, you know, like Alexander Grace was trying to say, like, you know, she's stingy.
Dick move. It's late in the city, it's potentially dangerous. As a man, you make sure she gets home safely. And obviously this was going to make her lose attraction to him. That part was predictable. But let me ask you this question, because she says indignantly, you can't spend $7 to take me 3 blocks? $7, that's cheap. Like, that's weird. Why wouldn't he spend that money? But here's my question. Why didn't she? It's only $7, as she says. If it's such a small amount of money that it's negligible, why not just pay it yourself? Why didn't that even occur to her? Why were the only options in her mind, man pays or I walk home? The answer is that women are cheap. I mean cheap in that they are unwilling to spend money.
This is absolutely incorrect. Women are not cheap. Women make up 80% of the consumer economy. Okay, at least in the United States, women make 80% of all consumer purchases. Almost the entirety of the consumer economy is made up by women. Women are not cheap. Women are more than happy to spend money on themselves. Women do not want to walk home. The reason why she did not spend that money is because she does not have that money. There you go. There you go. There you go. Mayumi, no money to their name. Pathetic. She doesn't have it. She did not have the money. All right. It's late. It's dangerous. And you think she's going to walk? She's like, oh, I never got the ick so quickly. Also, she lost attraction to him. She didn't lose attraction to him. She was never attracted to him in the first place. If she was actually attracted to him, they would be going back to his place. He wouldn't be dropping her. He wouldn't be dropping her home. Okay? It's obvious they went out on a date and she took advantage of him. She probably ordered a ton of stuff at this restaurant. And he said to himself, you know what? Let me just cut my losses. I'm not going to spend another dime here. Like, men are just waking up and realize, men are just waking up and realizing, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this. All right. And now they see soft guy era and they're realizing that the man is the prize, you know. How about you spend some money on me? How about you take me out for drinks? How about you take me out for a nice meal? You know, how about you do these things? Because D ain't free. I remember MK Fitness saying that D ain't free, and it's true. All right, it's not free. Voice says that's why most TV ads are aimed at women. MK Fitness said it. She doesn't have $7. She doesn't have $7. Just the reality. You know, Mayumi says, while my husband was active duty and overseas, to prove my honor and honesty, I got a DNA test to prove our beloved first son, is the son of my king. Guys, and you know what's interesting? Over in France, it's illegal for a man to go and get a DNA test. The highest court in France ruled that it would disrupt the family in France. You know, they believe that up to 75%, three out of every 4 children in France are are the results of paternity fraud. So men are paying for children that are not theirs. 75% of all families in France right now, where the man has children, they believe that it is an instance of paternity fraud. And the French government, the highest court in France, is so well aware of this that they have barred men from getting a DNA test. And if a man goes and attempts to get a DNA test, he will be thrown in jail in France. That is just to let you know how bad it is. In the United States, they believe that it's as high as 50%. So 1 out of every 2 cases where a man has a child with a woman, it's paternity fraud. And they believe it's a minimum of 30%. In France, they believe it's a minimum of 50%, but it could be as high as 75%. While in the United States, they believe it's a minimum of 30%, but it could be as high as 50%. Why would anyone in their right mind put up with this at this point? John Adams says, I think it's 90%. I mean, just look at this, guys. Women think that most men are unattractive. They're only attracted to 1% of men in Western society. This is a reflection of the inability to pair bond right now. These people can no longer pair bond, and that's the reason why they are experiencing this. Drizzle says the Pookie tax. Last said, I heard that only 30% of men only reproduce. Yeah, the actual percentage of men who actually reproduce throughout history has actually been low. Over 80% of women have reproduced, while only like 30% of men have reproduced. And that's a consistent statistic. So it's not going to get... So, I mean, the reality is that, men are just walking away entirely. And women don't know what they've really lost. The economy isn't going to fall out. And women don't know the hardships that what it's like to be homeless, what it's like to live in the streets, what it's like when you don't have a bathroom to go to, when people are basically going to the bathroom on the streets, when you don't have food. They don't know homelessness. Guys, men can survive because men are able to suffer. All right? We are able to suffer. We are able to adapt. We are able to persevere. Women cannot suffer. A woman is not designed to live without a husband. Mayumi is really out there. She said, it's sad, but we are looking at the creation of matchstick girls. Oh, gosh. I'm telling you guys. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. And women have created this reality for themselves. Okay? They created this reality for themselves, and they are going to have to live with the consequences of this. But women have always been bailed out of every bad decision that they've made. But this time, it's not going to happen. The government is not going to bail them out. The government's not going to find money to house them and feed them and clothe them. All of them? Come on. There's not enough public housing for all of them. Food stamps is not even $300 a month. Okay? It's gonna be a nightmare. And for those of you wondering who the matchstick girls are, the matchstick girls were Irish immigrant women who worked in the East End of London in 1888, making and boxing matches for the Bryant and May Matchstick Company. The women's working conditions were dangerous, with long hours, low pay, and exposure to not so great stuff. There was exposure to phosphorus vapors. The phosphorus was added to the tip of the matchstick to make them strike anywhere. Inhaling the vapors, especially when heated, caused an occupational disease called phosphorus neurosis of the jaw, or phossy jaw. Symptoms included toothache, tooth loss, abscesses, and swelling of the gum. And about 20% of these cases resulted in mortality. Wow. Wow. Something else. Drizzle said, women don't need men anymore, just what? They only get serious when they need a man to survive. John Adams says, not even the woods is safe. Let me see here. Oh yeah. I tell you guys, the world is something else. And women are they're going to basically, the writing is on the wall and the consequences are there, and they're not going to be able to handle the consequences of their actions. They're not going to be able to handle what's going to happen. Voice says, angry, remember the radium girls who licked stamps at, oh, I did not know about that one, who licked stamps at the clock factory? Ay. Telling you guys, the reality for men, the reality for women, it's hard. Men are living simple lives of luxury. Mayumi said they made glow in the dark chocolate, glow in the they made glow in the dark clocks. Sorry, watches. Okay. I don't know, guys. I'm telling you, nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. I'm supposed to have Mayumi come on at some point, guys. So at some point we should have Mayumi on here and her husband. So just so you guys know, that's it, it's a possibility, whatever time allows. But we'll probably have Mayumi on here at some point so she can share her thoughts. Oh gosh. And she says we are getting it ready. Yeah. Guys, reality is about to set in. Reality is about to set in. And women are going to face really hard times because of what's happening. Guys, they're going to face consequences, and regardless of what they say or do, the simp economy is moving overseas. The Filipinos are fighting hard for the simp economy. They're coming hard for the simp economy. All right? I told you, women around the world were going to begin competing for American men, for Western men, because most men today don't have a dog in the fight. They're not fighting for country. They're not fighting for family. All right? So what are they fighting for? They basically are just going to walk away from these societies that have rejected them and have made their lives a living nightmare. Voice says, as a proud, ugly bastard, I'm happy to walk away from this society. Guys, yeah, you know what's really frightening? You're in the same league as Eddie, as Eddie Redmayne. Like, they consider him ugly. Like, seriously? Really, ladies? Mayumi says there's nothing ugly about anything but the attitudes of women in Western society. I tell you. What do you guys think regarding this? The fact that women only like 1% of men. They only find 1% of men as attractive in Western society. And do you agree? Do you guys agree? This is the mouse utopia. Like, this is the decline of society. There's no coming back from this. There will be no recovery. All right. It will basically be just men leaving the West. And despite what governments want to say or do, a country without its men is not a country. A country without its men is a wasteland. Let me know your thoughts on this. Oh, gosh. Image says, I'm going to live in a poncho in the woods and forget this society. Let me know, you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. Everything we discussed here. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away. And cheers.